I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 105. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, at Rated G for Gamers. And you can always email us at info@ratedgforgamers.com. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino. This is my co-host, Dan. Happy National CIB Day, Robinson. So, happy National CIB Day to you. February 10th.
Happy CIB. Happy CIB.
Second
I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, I'll give you that. You got me. You got me.
It's my favorite holiday next to Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Flag Day, Arbor Day.
It's you know what? I'm not gonna put it in order. But I will say, it got nominated for Holiday of the Year.
Oh, just like the Order 1886.
I didn't say it. You did. I didn't say it. I wasn't going to say it, but you did.
Oh, nominated for Holiday of the Year.
It got nominated for Holiday of the Year.
I didn't know they had those awards.
Top 5.
The top 5.
Nice. Right there with Christmas, Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. We're in the States, so 4th of July,
right,
Labor Day, and National CIB Day.
National CIB Day, yeah. So for those of you
who will
listening,
win this year, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you listening, we are recording on a Saturday, February 10th, which is National CIB Day. So it will be slightly after. Feel free to post up your favorite CIB games, hashtag National CIB Day, and, spread the love. Let us know. Tag us.
Now,
we love to see you.
Well, if you're new to the show, National CIB, I think this is our 3rd year, if I'm not mistaken.
Second, but sure.
Second official year.
Yes.
Okay. Second official year. We were sort of unofficial in that first year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a celebration of collecting games. That's all. Just that special day where you're collecting games. I mean, it started out as sort of like, those games that really touched us in a way, like,
and they are.
Like
they
have a personal meaning.
Yeah.
Which it still is. But then it sort of just evolved into just the love of collecting games. Mm-hmm. So I this year I posted something that was dear to my heart from when I was 15, which was a pretty low year for me, a dark year for me in my life. So, all right. I hate to go with the doom and gloom. Dave, what's been going on?
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. I have finally hit over 800 games. I know you've been saying...
I thought you already hit over 800 games.
Well, you kept saying for a while, like, I thought you had more games than that. I think you have more games than that. And I got kind of lazy with the cataloging. So I decided yesterday.
That's an understatement.
I decided yesterday to go ahead and recatalog everything because I have the new shelf, so I don't have anything double stacked. It's very easy to just kind of run through, and I missed a ton of games.
You don't have anything double stacked.
Not anymore. I got so much room right now. So I went through and did it. And
by National CIB Day 2019, you'll be double stacking.
Yeah, right. Actually, hopefully, that means I'm doing a good job. But yeah, I got like 830 something now, I think. So, I
last time I checked, you were like at like almost 7. Like you really have been lazy.
No, I was a little over 6. I was like 630 or 40 maybe. Yeah.
That's even worse.
I know. Well,
the
look at all
laziness
these,
was hardened. The
look at all
laziness
these
was
great
strong in
games
you.
I just got added to the collection. So, it felt really good. I'm like, wow, I missed a lot. I was okay with that. I was okay with that. So we're now good. I don't think I've missed anything. Got it all in the damn spreadsheet. So feeling good.
I'm telling you got to have a system. Everybody has their own system. My
Uh-huh.
system is as soon as I buy the game, I try to take a picture of the pickups as soon as I get it. But if not, I just sort of leave it in the box on the side. But as soon as I take a picture of the game and post it on Instagram as a pickup, it has to go into the collection.
You're right.
I can't sleep on it. I got to
right.
put it in. Got to categorize it. I got to plug it into my actually, what the hell is the name of the app I got? I don't even remember the name of the app. Collectors. CLZ Games.
CLZ Games. There you go.
That's what I got. I got the app that categorizes catalogs all my games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up to almost 2,500.
Nice.
I'm like maybe like 10 games, like 12 games away actually.
I think we may need to make a new graphic to celebrate.
2,500.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe 3,000. When I hit 3,000 eventually.
Wow. All right. You're holding out. All right.
Yeah. Maybe when I hit 3,000.
Okay.
25 is big, but 3,000 is even bigger.
All right then.
So anyway, before we get into what we're playing, I gotta say, Dave, you got into my head. This is your fault. I blame you.
I got into your head?
Yes.
Do tell.
I had a nightmare the other day. About Final Fantasy.
A nightmare about Final Fantasy?
Yes, I woke up all sweaty and in hives. It was just like, oh my god, Final Fantasy! I need to get out of my head.
Was like Sephiroth coming after you? Like what happened?
Okay, so I don't remember all of it.
Uh huh.
I was
Give
a
me
kid.
the broad strokes.
And I was a kid. And my mom said, I got you a game for Christmas, the game you've been wanting. It's Dragon Ball Z. And I was just like, yes, I want Dragon Ball Z. I don't know why it's the only game I want for Christmas, but I was so excited.
Uh-huh.
And I get the game. I plug it into the system. I can't remember what system it was.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this is not Dragon Ball Z. This is like a Final Fantasy game. I literally woke up pissed. I was like, "This is the worst Christmas ever."
Nah, you got upgraded, man. It's a much
the
better
worst
game.
Christmas ever.
Any Final Fantasy game is better than most, if not all, Dragon Ball Z games. I'm saying that now.
True.
Let the hate.
That
go.
is not true. That is not true. I will let the hate spew. That is not true. And I
the only one that
I'd rather play them than the Final Fantasy game.
The only one that could be better is Dragon Ball Fighter Z or Fighters.
Dragon Ball Fighters, the Budokai series 1, 2, and 3. Are you kidding me?
They were okay. They were fun.
They were
I
fun.
would definitely take Final Fantasy over that. That's just me.
I will
That's
say,
just me though.
I will say. Well, I woke up mad. Okay, I'm sorry. It was a nightmare in my book.
The opinions of Dave Rutino do not reflect Rated G for gamers as a whole. There we go.
Doesn't.
Disclaimer put out there.
So, but I will say, I have to give credit to one of our Instagram followers, Boom.night, who corrected me. You can turn off the subtitles and put it to English, Dragon Ball Fighters, which I did, and I gotta say, hell of a big difference.
Did I not tell you? They had to have had an English version. I knew it.
You know what? Look, I'm a big man, and I can admit when I'm wrong. When the one time a year that I'm wrong, and I'm glad I got the one time out the way this year. Early in the year.
You have to put a little asterisk next to it. You couldn't just be like, I was wrong. Boom. Put a little asterisk next to it. I see.
Listen. The one time a year I'm wrong,
I
admit to it. And look, I can be a big man. I'm glad I got it out the way early. I'm glad I got this out the way early. But you know what? Boom.night was right.
Let it be known. Let it be known. Not here and now. Let it be known here and now. Dan Robinson wrong once in his lifetime. Today.
No.
Today.
Not my lifetime. Come on.
You just said that.
I'm wrong once a year.
Wow. All right.
I'm 35. I'm 35, so I've been wrong 35 times in my life.
There you go.
So I gotta say thank you. Big shout out. Go check out her Instagram, boom.night, night spelled Nite. That was pretty awesome. As soon as I went into the settings. I don't know how I missed the language part.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You can go. You can go and change it to English. So
Awesome.
Still an awesome game. Even with the subtitles, gotta say, even with the subtitles, still an awesome game.
Now, does your opinion change with the skippable cutscenes and all that?
No,
Oh, still, even with the English.
even with the English.
Okay.
And honestly, you can. The funny thing is, you can, if you hit pause, you can go back and see the dialogue, like what they were saying, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. You know what? I don't mind it personally. I really don't, because you can't pause during a cutscene. So it's always good that if I got to do something, or if someone's calling me, I can always just leave it there until I hit the button to go on to the next dialogue.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's a game you got to buy, man. I'm just saying, it's a game you got to buy.
Trust me, it is definitely in the hopper. As soon as I get some free time, I will gladly buy it. Which probably means I'm going to wait till it's $20 and then pick it up over the summer. But I'll get it eventually.
Not even the summer. You think you're going to wait till the next holiday?
Well, maybe. So I found something super awesome a couple days ago during the week. I don't know if you ever had one of these, but there was this little. It was from Tomy. It was like the Tomy Turbo Super Runner or whatever, right? And it was a little red plastic dashboard, right, with like black trim. And it was a little racing game, right? It had a weird little screen, and you had a little fuel gauge, and there was a mile counter, and you had a little shifter and a wheel. And it was just a little projected image on the screen, and it would turn left a little bit and turn right a little bit, and you had to ride the car, right? And I thought this thing was the coolest, right? I loved it so much. And then I apparently, like, the last time I played it, I left the batteries in there, and I just had it sitting in my closet for like ages. And lo and behold, they get battery rot and acid leaking everywhere, and it ruined the damn thing. So I had to throw it out. I was very upset. So I found this article a couple days ago about this guy who modded the Tomy Turbo Runner or whatever it is. The Tomy Turnin Turbo dashboard.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, he turned it into an outrun machine, which is great, right? The old outrun arcade game. So he basically, like, on like his on his blog, he catalogs the whole entire thing, and then he ends it with the video. It is amazing. It's got a little LCD screen in there. He modded out the dashboard to use like LEDs behind it. It is super cool. Super cool.
I gotta say, I never had one. I mean, I semi remember those, but I never had one.
Right.
As far as Outrun, I know, of course, I know the series. I actually have Outrun on my Master System.
Yeah, Outrun's fantastic. It has one of the best soundtracks ever, I think. Like, they're just amazing songs, and the gameplay is tight. It still kind of holds up today, I think. And this guy does this like crazy little mod. I want one. He has no plans on selling it anytime soon or making these in bulk. Which makes sense.
That thing is so small.
Yeah, but it's super cool.
That thing, I could just see some big dude doing some little small thing.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna play it all the time, but I want to have it in the damn collection.
You're gonna have it for the collection. Have it for Baby Rotino one day.
Baby Rotino, yeah.
Little Dave. Little Dan and Dave will play with it one day. The modded version. You got to make sure not to leave the batteries in it this time.
Well, yeah. Well, it has a
rechargeable.
No. It's just like a power cord.
Okay. Even better.
Power cord. Yeah.
Even better. Wait. Question. So we're recording. When does Black Panther come out?
Very soon. I think maybe next Friday.
I think it has to be next week.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening to this when the show comes out, it's, I guess, this coming Friday.
Mhm.
I can't wait. I actually can't wait to see this movie. It's actually setting records. That's what Fandango said. Right?
Mhm.
Like they're setting records for pre-orders.
Oh yeah, yeah,
For
it is.
people
It's coming
pre-order
out the
tickets.
16th.
And who set the previous record? Wasn't it Star Wars?
What best opening box office like all time?
Yeah.
Star Wars, the original Star Wars had it for a little bit. Titanic killed it, and Avatar killed that.
Well, I don't think Avatar killed the best opening weekend. I know just best selling movie of all time worldwide. Avatar killed it.
Yeah, Avatar is like blows everything else out of the water.
I know, but it set some Fandango records recently, I guess, for like people who pre-order tickets. Interesting fact, I didn't know this until yesterday. Wesley Snipes was in talks to play Black Panther back in the 90s before he even played in Blade.
That's crazy. I didn't know that either.
At the height of his popularity,
Mm-hmm.
he was in talks with Marvel Studios when they were like sort of just getting started into playing Black Panther. In movies, for various reasons, never get made. The Thundercats movie never got made, right?
Yeah,
that iconic poster.
As much as I would have wanted to see that, I don't think it would have done well.
I don't know if I wanted to see. I mean, what was it, like 99, 98?
Maybe. Yeah, just
movie.
yeah.
98.
It wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been talks to play that for like the longest time. I think after the last Blade movie, the third one, it didn't do so well, and then obviously he had some financial troubles. They didn't work out, but they actually went to him to say that they're bringing it back. They're going to do it right. They have a new lead, and he gave his blessing. I mean, obviously he couldn't play Black Panther anymore. He was too old at this point. And there's still talks of him. There's still rumors of him maybe coming back to play Blade, not for a Blade movie, but sort of Blade in the cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. I definitely want to see that. And it's interesting. I try to avoid the trailers as much as possible, but they're like rumors. Not rumors. I take that back. That's poor choice of words. But they're advertising like Black Panther is like sort of the MCU James Bond. So I would love to know why they're making those comparisons. But I've stayed, for the most part, I've stayed away from any spoilerific trailers.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll see in about a week. And you are correct, by the way. Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Star Wars: The Last Jedi are number 1 and number 2, respectively, for box office weekend totals.
Nice, but they're definitely saying that. I think this set a record on Fandango for most pre-order tickets.
Pre-order tickets, yeah,
something like that. So
That's
they're
awesome.
It's getting great reviews across the board, and it's people are like clamoring to see this movie, and it's sold out in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I definitely can't. I actually would love to see. I need to see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
A movie I kind of, a trailer I did watch that I wasn't so keen on was the new Venom movie. It had a Venom teaser that came out.
I saw that too. I mean, it's a teaser. It's kind of hard to. It was kind of hard to get much out of it. It looks. I'm excited for Venom. I've always wanted to see Carnage as a villain. Even though he's not in the trailer per se, but we do know that he's the villain for it. So,
this is the MCU. He's not in the MCU. At least I don't think. I think there were talks that this is strictly Sony
it's made by Sony,
IP.
so I don't think it's going to tie in that way.
Yeah, but it's still, he is still tied it to Spider-Man, the actual Spider-Man. That's in the MCU.
Yep.
So, I don't know. The teaser just didn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, I got to see. The teaser didn't do anything for me, but when we actually see the debut trailer, maybe that'll, when I actually see the villain and get some of the plot points, then maybe it'll be better.
So I really didn't know who the guy playing Venom was. I don't know if he was anybody.
Really? Wait,
maybe
no. He's more than anybody. He's more than anybody. He is somebody. Wasn't he in Terminator? I think he was in Terminator Salvation, if I'm not mistaken.
maybe
Yeah.
you're not thinking of the guy who Tom Hardy. That's who's playing him. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
You're like,
All
you
right,
forgot
you
what
didn't know his name. Don't call me out on it.
I mean,
All
look, I
right,
forgot
Tom
his
Hardy.
name too, but I knew he was somebody.
All right, fair enough. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Okay.
All right, let's bring this full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think with the success of the movie, and if Venom is successful, do you think we'll get a standalone Black Panther and Venom game? I mean, they already made a game. They made a Carnage game. I think we got a Venom game.
Oh, you mean Spider-Man and Venom?
We got Spider. Do you think we'll get a standalone Venom game or a standalone Black Panther game?
Video game? I don't see why not. They tie in everything. I mean, they have games for every superhero movie that comes out.
I know, but lately, we haven't really got a lot of licensing games related to movies, right?
I own and play every now and again the Guardians of the Galaxy pinball. So,
Well, yeah, and I did play Guardians of the Galaxy, the TT game.
Yeah.
Which I loved. I thought it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't tie into the movie. So,
right.
I'm playing Wolverine. I'm playing X-Men Origins, Wolverine, which ties into the first Wolverine movie.
Right. Well, I mean, I honestly think they're better when they don't tie into the movie, because sometimes the movies don't translate well. You're beholden to the source material, right? I think what was it last week, or either last week or the week before, when we talked about video games and movies, right? And how video games often don't turn into good movies because they're so beholden to the video game, but the sole purpose of the video game is to be fun, right? Not to be art per se, right? And, you stomp on Goombas, right?
Well, it is art, but the purpose of it is to be fun. Yeah.
I mean, like you can make the argument that video games are art. Sure, I'm not necessarily getting into that, but what does stomping on a Goomba add to the movie, add to the plot or the narration or whatever, right? Sometimes what works in a video game doesn't necessarily work in a movie. And I think the same goes the other way, right? Like action movies are great because there's all these big set pieces, right? So you can use those. You can go, here's the fight with Carnage, here's the fight with some thugs in the street and the whatever, and you hit all the key points in the movie, and then you pad it out with a little more, and you put a good fighting game engine in there, and you're like, okay, boom, there you go. But if they could not be beholden to each and every set piece, like they can get a little more creative with it, if they have the budget and the whatever, they can go, all right, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're going to do this and do this and do this because it'll be better for gameplay. Right. And then, maybe they can make a game that gets more than an 8.
They can get more than an 8, but an 8 is still really, really good.
Oh, it's solid. Sure.
Listen, anything higher than a 6 and a 7 and above, you did a good job.
Well, sure. But I'll say this though, like given the choice between a licensed movie game and another game that is of the same genre, like, a beat 'em up or an action game or a first person shooter or whatever, I'm probably going to choose the unlicensed game. Because, it's just, they usually tend to be better games for whatever reason. But
that is true. Yeah. However, Marvel is taking the movies seriously.
Oh yeah. No. We talked about that a little bit ago on the show. Yeah. So we'll see, Maybe the Black Panther and the Venom video games, if and when they do come out, will be fantastic because they'll take the time.
Well, Black Panther, yes. Venom, I mean, he's sort of like he really is like the opposite. He's Spider-Man, right? Like he has the same sort of mechanics like Spider-Man, except for maybe, a little bit stronger because he's more buff. He looks more buff, right? So I think it would be. I mean, we have a Spider-Man game coming out hopefully this year at the end of the year. It would be the same game, correct? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? How would they make it any different?
I don't know. I don't know. That is a very good question.
So anyway, and something that this was like a topic at work, which was weird. It blew people's minds at work.
A topic at your work,
huh?
A topic at your work?
At my job, yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Everyone was like mind blowing, and they know I'm the video game guy, and they were like, "Hey, I heard Toad from Mario Brothers. Like that's not a hat; that's his real head." And my response was, yeah, because he's a
mushroom. Yeah,
a mushroom. That's his
toadstool.
head. And everyone's just like, I thought that was a hat. And I'm like, well, where are you seeing this? It was like, it was on the internet. And I was just like, didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know this was in question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just assumed it was this thing. You wouldn't like take it off and be like bald underneath or have like Fabio hair.
Well,
just doesn't seem like
funny
it.
Funny enough, the source of the confusion comes from the cartoon, the brief cartoon that was out back in the early 90s.
Oh yeah,
the Mario game, the Mario Brothers cartoon. In one of those episodes, Toad took off the mushroom cap, and he was bald.
Oh, see, it's a matter of is the cartoon canon?
Apparently, it's not, because one of the guys who worked on the Mario games with for Nintendo, it just didn't come from what's his name? I have his name right on the tip of my tongue, can't even say it. Who created Mario?
Oh, Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah, this didn't come from Miyamoto, but it came to one of Miyamoto's, one of the other people that worked on the game. I guess he sort of created Toad for the game, and he was like, "No, that's not a hat. That's his head." And I guess it's canon.
Yeah,
he said it.
There you go.
Done.
There you go. Interesting.
So, Dave, as we always try to start the show and epically fail, and today is no different. But we have a good excuse. It was CIB day.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
Oh, I have been playing and I quote, the completely mediocre Dissidia NT Final Fantasy.
Wow.
Mediocre.
You saying bad words, hate against Final Fantasy? I am shocked.
Sometimes you got to be honest.
Is this a nightmare? Is this not real?
Sometimes you got to be honest. Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself and step back and say, you know what? I don't think this game is that great. It's okay.
You mean the first time you saw the prequels, okay. The Star Wars prequels?
Yeah, right.
You had to step back and be like, I know I was hyped. I know I was pushing myself to be hyped. But there was no reason to be hyped.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I just like okay. So let me go ahead and tell you this. I will go ahead and say this one thing, and then we can move on to what you're playing, because that's all I've really been playing right now. I wanted to get some time into it because I did the tutorial and I got that out the way, and I'm like, let me get some actual matches in there, right? So I go to story mode, right? And it's like a whole grid thing, right? So like you can choose where you want to open up parts of the story, and you can go down those paths. So I'm like, all right. So I watch the opening cinematic credit, which actually costs in-game currency to unlock each story node. I'm like, all right, that's a little bit weird. So I watch the video. I go to the next one. Is right. You don't have enough credits to unlock this video. So I'm like, okay. So the story mode is just a set of cutscenes. That's it. It's cutscenes. That's it. So you
no actual game.
You basically grind it out. Well, I mean, you can fight, but there's no the battles don't coincide with the story, as far as I've seen. You just unlock different story nodes. So you grind it out. You eventually get a story token. You can unlock more of the story paths. It's weird. It's weird. It doesn't really.
What were you
know,
expecting? Let me put it this way.
I was expecting a story mode. That's not a story mode. I mean, any game of this style and kind, you would expect some sort of story mode. It's labeled as a story mode, but you don't actually play it.
You have story.
Yeah, but you're not actively playing it. You're playing rando battles that, so it's kind of disjointed. It feels a little weird.
So the battles don't match the story, basically.
The battles are just random versus battles. You go ahead and set it up, and then, based on how you did, you get money, you get gil, which you can buy stuff, and then you also get story tokens every now and again, and then those open up different parts of the story. It's weird. It's very weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I think that just kind of sums it up. That's just weird. And, the gameplay is a little bit weird. Even though I loved the first one, and the fan service is great. Fan service is pretty good in this one, too. There's more characters and whatever, and the graphics look great. But, I don't know. I think I could have waited on this one. I'll say that. I actually kind of wish I bought Dragon Ball Z Fighters.
Well, it's Dragon Ball Fighters. No Z.
Whatever, yeah.
Listen, when this game goes on sale for $10, I'll buy it.
I mean, I wouldn't even sure. Sure. Yeah.
That's it. So, and I love fighting games. Even story mode with no story.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean I don't think you definitely wouldn't hate the gameplay. I'm pretty sure
it'll be one of those games I can play while I listen to a podcast.
Exactly.
Like Rated G for Gamers.
Exactly.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a lot of Dragon Ball Fighters. I finished the first story arc. I'm now into the second story arc, which is sort of you're playing as the villains. You get it's the same story, except for now you see the villain's perspective. Right? So it's the same difference. So they start you off with Frieza, and that's sort of where I am right now. So I've put about 6 hours into Dragon Ball Fighters.
Nice.
So that's good. Listen, I'm on my Switch too. I know I put it down for a minute. I picked it back up, and I've been playing Dragon Quest Builders demo.
Mm-hmm. Wait, isn't that game out?
I think the game is out, but I've been playing the demo.
You're playing the Switch version.
Well, I'm playing a demo.
I see, the Switch version. Right. Because it's out on the PS4.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
But I'm playing the Switch the demo and that's on the Switch version.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. I don't think I've ever played a Dragon Quest Builders game before. So this is sort of weird to me because it's like an RPG meets Minecraft.
Yeah. It's an interesting combination of things. I mean,
I own other Dragon Quest games. I haven't played any of them. So this is sort of like my first foray into Dragon Quest and and I guess the Builders version of it.
Right.
I'm used to Minecraft because I've played a little bit of Minecraft on the Vita. So it's Minecraft with actual characters. Essentially, that's how I feel.
Right. Right.
But I've been playing surprisingly the heck out of Knack 1 on PS4.
Wow. What brought that on?
Well, it's a free PS Plus game of February.
I see.
So I've been afraid to put the disc in because I know when it first came out, it bricked a few PS4s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've been a little afraid to put the disc in. So now that it's free on PS4, and now it's free as a PlayStation Plus download, I've been playing a heck out of it. Not a bad game, I gotta say. It's not a bad game. If you've played any of the old school games, if you played Ratchet and Clank, it gives me vibes of Ratchet and Clank. Same thing, except for it's more linear.
Yeah, cool. You're all about those perfectly average games, right? The Order in 1886, Knack on PS4.
No, well, again, I like to bring things full circle from our open world conversation last week. I'm more of a linear type of player.
Sure.
Tell me where I got to go so I
Sure.
can advance the story. Thank you.
Right. You can get from point A to point B, cues the cutscene and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that in games for sure.
So that's exactly what this game is. Ratchet and Clank, you could sort of go around the whole area, and explore and where you sort of have to go. This is a little bit more linear than that. So I don't mind it. I like it, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So it makes me, I kind of really want to finish NAC 1 so I can play NAC 2. The mechanics are better in NAC 2 apparently. And I don't mind the mechanics in NAC 1.
Uh-huh.
So I'm actually excited to play in that game.
So
I never thought those words would come out of my mouth.
So what you're saying is you have a knack for knack.
I have a knack for knack.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Thank you. Hold the applause. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. All right, Dave, you got any interesting pickups this week?
Well, I got two. I got Jeopardy for the Nintendo. I know.
Woo!
Super jealous.
Boy.
And I got Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots for PS3 because didn't have it in the collection.
Wow,
and I got it for nothing.
I didn't know that. That was new.
Yeah.
Well, you got that today?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Picked it up right before we recorded.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
I want a little Monster Hunter crazy. So I have Monster Hunter on Xbox One right now. I gotta go back and play that. It's sort of on hiatus.
I mean, like it's what you do. Like you pick up a game and you're like, oh, this game is great. I want to get everything in the series, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I have Monster Hunter. I picked up the original Monster Hunter for PS2, Monster Hunter 3 for the Wii. I have Monster Hunter 2 for the PSP and Monster Hunter 4 for the 3DS.
Wait, didn't Monster Hunter come out on PlayStation 1 first? Or am I thinking of a different game?
You're thinking of something different. Monster Hunter came out on the Monster Hunter as we originally know it is on PS2.
What was the one where you could put your own CDs in there and it would create random characters for you? Was that not Monster Hunter?
I have no idea.
I'm going to have to look this up after the show. I'm curious now. Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. I thought Monster Hunter started on the PS.
You may be right. You very well may be right. I'm not sure what I'm thinking of, though.
And that was like 2004 or 5, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, or maybe, at least in America, I don't know if any Monster Hunter games came out in Japan prior to that.
Right.
Anyway, so I picked up Star Wars Bounty Hunter for the GameCube.
Oh, very nice.
The Suffering, and I guess the Suffering 2 Ties That Bind for the OG Xbox. Castlevania Legacy of Darkness for the N64. What was better than Castlevania 64?
Slightly.
Maybe not a lot better, but it's definitely better than
Uh-huh.
Dragon Age Origins Awakening for the 360.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about games that tie into movies. Wanted for the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like that movie. That was the movie with the Angelina Jolie and the young Professor X.
Mm-hmm. You could bend the bullet. Oh, that's right.
You could bend bullets. You could bend bullets.
You could bend bullets. Yeah.
So any movie where you can bend bullets has to be a good video game where you can bend bullets. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So, all right. So why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into the biggest gaming news of the week.
Yeah, and in our convo of the week, we're going to get a little dark. We're going to talk about what our plans are with our collection when we die.
And we're back. All right, let's get into the news.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we already know we're going to get Switch Online sometime in September. I got to say, we're definitely going to hear more about that at at E3.
Oh, of
at
course.
the least, right?
They-
At the
they're-
least, unless they have a direct prior to E3.
They're like probably going to kick off their damn whatever they're doing, their treehouse thing or whatever it is, with the Nintendo Online stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised since they've been pushing a lot of announcements to that Treehouse stream that we probably won't hear any online details during the E3 Direct. We'll probably all be about games, and then we'll probably get details about Nintendo Online at Treehouse.
Oh, you think they're gonna save it till after?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
But anyway, what we do know now is that Switch games you'll soon be able to buy games digitally on the eShop and earn Nintendo coins.
Now this sounds great. It sounds
I hear a
great.
big butt somewhere.
Well, I mean, we know the details. It doesn't really shake out to that much, right? So they're bringing back their rewards program, right? They had Club Nintendo and whatever the other thing was, and I never really got into a lot of that stuff. I didn't really have a Wii or Wii U. I had a Wii U kind of late. I didn't have a Wii during its life cycle, so I kind of missed out on a lot of that stuff. It seemed like it was great in the beginning, and then the second incarnation was okay, and it looks like this is kind of
Well, this is sort of following the footsteps of that. Right. So basically, they sort of have like a tier system for just for their points, which is it's not as clear as like trophies where you have platinum, gold, silver, bronze. Right. And I'll be honest, I hardly go to the Nintendo website. I'm always logged in because it's saved in my Safari browser. But when we said we were going to do the store, and we sort of before the show sort of prepped all the news, and I went to the Nintendo website. I have 420 platinum coins, and I have like 310 gold coins. But the gold coins, I think, are more than the platinum coins, which sort of doesn't make any sense to me. And then you have the different coins. You have the platinum coins for all of the Nintendo games, like you have Animal Crossing, Super Mario Run, Mitomo, which is I think they about the end that app actually, and Fire Emblem, which is going to be the highest grossing mobile app.
Yeah,
it's a little weird. The points do expire because my Nintendo Run points expired because I haven't really played the game in maybe about a year.
Which is so also like weird and annoying. It's a whole nother wrinkle to it. Like it. I mean, it used to be it used to be back in the day that gift cards would expire eventually, and it was like the largest scam on earth because there was so much unused money. And Obama put a stop to that. He basically like went in and fixed a bunch of issues with like credit lending agencies and whatever, and like gift cards were one of that. And gift cards can't expire, right? But this isn't a gift card. It's weird virtual currency, so it doesn't fall under that umbrella. And it really, like, you're trying to get back in the good graces of fans, right? You want to bring back these things. You want to reward people for being fans and playing your game and for buying products. But then it's like, well, these are going to go away, so you got to use them while you got them,
Well, if you you sort of get more points if you buy digitally. Skynet's taking over.
Well,
digitally,
yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming. So if you buy a physical game for the Nintendo Switch, you will earn gold points worth 1% of the Nintendo eShop purchase of the same game. Where if you buy it digitally, you earn 5% worth that amount. So, and if you spend $50 on the eShop game, you'll receive 250 gold points in return.
Right, which apparently is about $2.50, right? $2.
So for every 100 points, you get $5.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes. Well, for every $100, for every $100 you spend, you get $5 back.
Okay.
So you get 5%.
Yeah.
And you have a year to use it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually buy digital games. You can buy more games.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you buy on eShop, sort of you can just buy a full retail game digitally if you have enough points before it expires.
So this is kind of smart. Like they're basically Nintendo is trying to condition you to buy digital only, right? So
Yes.
they're making the incentive better than saying, "Hey, don't go to the brick and mortar store, buy it online," right? Which is clever for them.
Well, then you know what? Put a 1 terabyte hard drive in the Switch. Thank you.
so we can actually download games. That's a fair point too.
And don't charge me these astronomical amounts for the stupid SD card.
Well, that's not on Nintendo. That's like third party, but yeah.
No, they've partnered with third parties that will come out with these specialized like Mario and just Nintendo themed.
Oh, really?
SD cards, right?
Huh.
And they're like crazy high expensive.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
It's probably because it's got Mario on there that it's so high, right? Because it's custom limited edition now.
Well, I mean, again, I think sort of doesn't Xbox do something similar or used to do something similar? I know trophies, and we talked about it back in November. Trophies you can redeem for points and can use those points to buy games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think you could do the same thing on Xbox too. Even though I gotta be honest, I don't know how many Xbox achievement points I have.
I think they're looking to do that. They haven't implemented that yet. I mean, I know we were talking they were going to revamp it, and you could use your points to like redeem for stuff and whatnot. But I don't know. That hasn't been in. That's definitely not in the latest update. But I think they're working on something for that.
All right, let's stick with Nintendo. We talked about Mario Kart Tour last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about playing Mario Kart on my cell phone. Will it be motion controls? All right. Will it be me tilting the phone to move my cart?
I think so. It's either going to be a tilt or it's going to be a tap left or right.
Really?
Well, I mean, how many buttons do you need?
I think Nintendo would do tilt because they're used to doing motion controls since the Wii.
Yeah, and I guess you are going to need to be able to tap somewhere in the screen to use your power up. Because that's like core to Mario, if you can't.
And what about drifting? What about drifting? You can't drift. Like maybe turning left and like double tapping to drift.
I mean,
you have to drift.
I don't know if it's going to be as robust as the home console version. I don't think it's going to be as crazy.
Really?
Then it also like it kind of lessens the experience, and you're not going to be able to translate everything because you don't have any physical buttons, it's all just like a giant screen and you can tilt. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, but I feel like it's going to be scaled back and it's going to have heavy microtransactions in there. So
we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. So the CEO of DNA,
mm-hmm.
which is sort of the cell phone division for Nintendo,
mm-hmm.
right? He's been on record recently in saying, well, first of all, the whole announcement sort of had that shareholders vibe to it, right? Because it's coming out in the last quarter of 2019, which is which could be 2018, which is the beginning of 2019, March 2019. So, but he stated that the game will be free to start.
Right.
Now, what does that really mean? Is it like Mario Run where you get the first course for free and then you have to pay $10 to get the whole full experience? Or will it just be free to start and then they add microtransactions later on, like every other phone game?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be something like that. There has to be some sort of pay component to it. Whether you're paying like Mario Run was, you would unlock the full game, right? So you could get it was basically a demo in the full game for $10. This may be the same thing, or you may just get the whole game, and then eventually you have to pay credits to play around, right? Like most free to play games are, right? You get credits per day or per hour, like they recharge over time, and it's like spend 3 credits and then you can race, and then when your credits are out, you have to wait. Or and then you can buy more credits. They could go with that model, or they could go with you were saying, where it's a couple of tracks and then you get the full game for X amount of dollars.
Well, let's look at their mobile game so far. Mario Run was $10 flat out. That's it. Yep. Right, and they made a lot of money. They made millions of dollars off of that, but not as much money as they could have made if they sort of left it free with microtransactions. Right?
That tends to do more. Yeah. I mean, they tend to make more money.
So, but that's the pushback from Nintendo, where they don't want Mario to sort of be, they don't want Mario this to sort of be like this. They're very protective of their IP.
They don't want to like cheapen the brand, They don't want to
cheapen the brand. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, and they don't want to make fans mad and this and that. So
yeah. But they sort of did. They sort of put the microtransactions in. I don't know. Matter of fact, Animal Crossing doesn't. I don't think Animal Crossing has a lot of microtransactions, not as much as Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem to date has made Nintendo the most money out of all their iOS games.
Yeah.
All the mobile games, because Fire Emblem is like the typical standard mobile game. It's free with riddled with microtransactions.
Oh yeah, no, there is like a ton of that, and if you want to get if you want to get super rare stars, you got to buy all this like special currency, which costs real world money. It's a whole big thing. Yeah.
Wait, out of curiosity, I'm kind of curious. Do you play any mobile games? Because you are a huge handheld gamer.
I mean,
I play Switch, and you have your 3D and your DS.
3DS. No, I have a 3DS too. Yeah, I got the pink one, the pink 3DS.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I rock that around. Yeah, I mean, like I'm looking at my stuff right now. Like the game that I play that has microtransactions that I don't pay anything for, but like play the game regularly and grind it out is the WWE Champions game. Like I talked about that before, how I was playing that, and you kind of ribbed me a lot. It's fun. It's just like Bejeweled, but with wrestlers.
Yeah, no, but you don't watch wrestling, and you don't strike me as a Bejeweled game player, so that's why I was ribbing you.
Bejeweled is great, I know all the people, like they basically have like all of the big name stars from past and present in there, which I think is kind of great. It's like fun. Like, I've kind of hit the brick wall with that game almost. Like it's getting to a point where it's not even worth playing anymore because it takes forever to grind it out and actually get the materials to level up your guys. So it's affecting the gameplay, which is like the problem. And then the other one that I play on a regular basis is Dots & Co., which is they made Dots. They made 2 Dots. It's a match game. It's slightly different than Bejeweled, but you do match colors together and whatnot. You can effectively play that game and not hit the brick wall because you're basically just playing puzzle levels, right? And you get X amount of tries to beat it, and then you move on to the next one. And if you beat it, you get whatever you paid for it back, right? So you don't actually lose anything if you keep winning, which is great. So okay. I play those 2. I don't play the Fire Emblem game. I have Mario Run, but I haven't bought it. I probably should because it is pretty solid, but I just had the demo of Mario Run.
Okay.
But yeah. I mean, I honestly like, I'll probably download Mario Kart and try it, but I'm pretty certain that I'm just not gonna. Yeah.
So I don't play a lot of mobile games. I beat Mario Run. I didn't go back for the purple coins. Maybe one day I will. But I gotta say the mobile game that I actually do play. I haven't played it a lot recently, but I used to play like heavy, on my way home from work. Is Sonic Boom 2, which is essentially Sonic Run.
Oh yeah. I actually played that for a
Sonic
bit.
Sonic Dash, not Run. Sorry.
Yeah. I played that for a bit.
I played Sonic CD, which was hard to play. They have a mobile game. It was hard to play. using your screen.
It's just
the
not.
controllers on
No,
the screen.
it has to be a new, unique experience tailored for the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I beat Sonic CD on PlayStation 4 actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been playing. I play a lot of Sonic Boom 2, which is essentially Sonic Dash 2. I don't know why they call it Sonic Boom 2. It's weird, but it is. And I don't pay for any of the microtransactions. I just grind it out.
Right.
It's just something that passed the time for my 45-minute commute home.
Sure. I'm actually surprised you don't bring the 3DS and/or the Switch with you, because they are infinitely better games, and they're games that pretty much don't have any microtransactions on there. The games are complete. You can.
Well, I mean, I think I don't know if I mentioned this on the show in the 100+ episodes that we've done, but going to work. First of all, I'm not a morning person, so going to work, the last thing I want to do is play a video game. I just want to go to bed. That's right. You're sleeping. Once I find a seat, my eyes are shut.
Yeah.
And on the way home, I don't want to say the last thing I want to do is play a video game, but I've brought the Switch with me a bunch of times and I just never felt the urge to play on the way home.
Wow, I'm the exact opposite. I get a lot of quality Switch gaming and 3DS gaming time on the subway.
Yeah, I just don't. I just want to go to bed. I just want to close my eyes and relax for 45 minutes, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I am the total opposite. But all right, why don't we get into our lead story of the day?
It's big news. Big news.
This is big. Metroid Prime 4. So we know that's been in the works. I've predicted, an early prediction, that Metroid Prime 4 would not come out for this. It would not come out this year. This is a 2019 game in my view.
Yeah, I mean, there was some rumors.
All we got was the logo.
It's true, and we had some rumors saying that, oh no, the game's going to come out 2018. The leak that we talked about last week, he was kind of like, yeah, Metroid's going to come out this year, and
well, that's true. But true. It was going to be shown at E3 and come out this year,
right?
However, Bandai Namco, it looks like Bandai Namco was in development of this game. We didn't know who was doing this game, right? The studio that did the other Metroid Prime games, they're working on a new IP that's sort of a horror game. Retro Studios, right?
Retro's not doing Metroid 4 anymore, which is interesting because the first three were very well regarded.
Yeah, but now Bandai Namco, the makers of Dragon Ball Fighters, they're making Metroid Prime 4, and all of this has been sort of. This was leaked first from like a LinkedIn post, right? Where it was like a first person shooter game. But Eurogamer has sort of verified through multiple sources that this is Metroid Prime 4 being made by Bandai Namco in conjunction with Bandai Namco.
Right.
And the people at Bandai Namco at this particular studio that's in Singapore were working on the canceled Star Wars 1313 game. That looked phenomenal on all the trailers, the E3 trailers.
Right. Bandai Namco, same studio that made Pokken Tournament, so they definitely have a good relationship.
So, what do you think we can see from a Bandai Namco Metroid Prime 4 game?
I honestly don't think that. I don't know. But if you want my opinion off the cuff, I don't think we're going to see much of the touch of Bandai Namco, if that makes sense. Like, you mentioned before that Nintendo is very, they're very careful with their properties, right? They have a good relationship with Ubisoft, so somebody reached out. I think Ubisoft may have reached out and said, hey, we have this crazy, crazy idea. Here's this quick little demo. What do you think? And Miyamoto was head over heels, and he's like, yes, let's do it. And that turned out really well.
As long as you don't make him jump, because that's what I make him do.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like that worked out real well. I guess their Pokken Tournament did really well, and then they made the deluxe version. That's selling really well now. So, I guess they wanted to like partner up and like, look, we want you to make this Metroid game. But I feel like behind the scenes, they're like, but we want the game to be Metroid. We want it to be a Metroid game. We don't want it to be a Bandai Namco game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, again, the guys who are developing the game, first person shoot, were developing Star Wars 1313. I mean, no one actually got to play it, but just from the looks of it, everybody was really stoked about it and super disappointed when it was canceled when Disney brought LucasArts.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, this game is in early production. So there's no way that this game is a 2018 game. So it looks like my prediction that this game is a 2019 game may come true.
Yeah. I am squarely in the 2019 camp now. And I think I think we'll get a trailer, like an actual trailer at E3 to get everybody hyped. And they're basically just going to open up the train doors and say, everybody board the hype train. And, we'll take you on through to 2019.
And also, which is being reported also in this news, Ridge Racer 8. Ridge Racer is being developed as well as an exclusive game for the Switch.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't seen Ridge Racer in a while. I haven't really been keeping up with it. I didn't realize they were up to version 8. That
me neither.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Me neither. All right, let's stick with Nintendo. So, people doubted Nintendo. Okay, people just doubted the Switch, doubted this hybrid console that it didn't, wasn't playing 4K games or HDR, right? Like, people were sour on Nintendo after the failure of the Wii U, which we both kind of like. We both really like the Wii U. We weren't as down on the Wii U as everyone else.
I do like the Wii U. I think it was better than the Wii. I mean, it had a lot of problems with it and zero third-party support. But
as a side note, before I get to the next story, if the Wii U was 4K gaming, do you think it would have lasted any longer?
If Wii U could do 4K gaming, it would have been crazy powerful enough to be like, we could definitely get some people to play our game on there. Like third-party developers would be saying that, I think. But
really,
even with that, it's a totally different architecture, which was part of the problem, right? Because the PlayStation and the PS4, or I'm sorry, the PlayStation and the Xbox are built on very similar architecture, right? It's built on the x86 architecture. The Wii U and the Wii were I think PowerPC, which is like an IBM chip, I think. Which is why a lot of Wii games got ported to the Wii U, and a lot of the Wii developers went to the Wii U because it's very similar architecture, just more powerful, right? But so if you're gonna make like a Call of Duty, you're going to say, yes, let's put it out on PlayStation because we can make so much more money and we don't have to do a lot to get the game running on that system, right? There's going to be problems and bugs and this and that inherent to the system, but it doesn't require a rewrite, right? If you make it for the Wii or the Wii U, you basically have to like rewrite a lot of the code again, and that takes a lot more development time. And then you look at the installed user base and it's very low, and it's like, well, maybe not,
Well, Take-Two, they've been on record recently saying that, are you going to make more Switch games? They said they have nothing to announce at this point.
Right.
Now, does that mean they're on the whole wait and see approach that other companies are taking, like EA? I doubt it. Matter of fact, I think EA is full of crap. I think every company right now is figuring out what's the right game to put on the Switch. Okay, now Take-Two, if you don't know them, they have a bunch of subsidiaries you do know, and that is Rockstar and 2K Games. So, and we've got vastly different games from sort of the subsidiaries, but we have a great game as an LA Noire, which I still play every now and then. I like to do per mission. It's not a game I can stay hours and hours. I can play hours and hours at a time. And then we have the crappy WWE 2K game, which I think is more
rushed
on WWE than it is 2K. I think they rushed that to market to hit the holiday season mark.
Oh, agreed, 100%. So,
and then they have the NBA 2K games, which
yeah.
I have on the Switch and plays plays perfectly.
So, like, I think they're definitely going to make they're definitely going to make a 2K19 and they're going to make a WWE 2K19. I can almost guarantee that. You know, they're going to make a better version out. You know, this is kind of their dipping their toes in the water on the Switch. Usually, first year games, especially sports games, are notorious for being like okay, you know, because they're still trying to work out all the different like quirks of the system. And they're going to have a ton more time to make this WWE game. They're going to have a ton more time to make the NBA game, right? Because I know, like, all right, these games are coming out. You know, they're going to be out in the fall, you know, September, October probably. So, we're at least going to get those, and they're going to be better than the previous versions for sure.
Ridge Racer! I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Get it all out now. Get it all out now.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Listen again. I think any company that says they're not, you know, they have nothing to say about developing Switch games, or they're not developing a Switch game, is full of crap. They are. I guaranteed they are.
Oh, of course.
They may not be. It may not be the AAA game that they're making for the Xbox or PS4, but they're making something.
Right. Otherwise, they would just say we have no interest in making games for this system. You know.
Well, honestly, I don't think so. Because you don't want to like ruin that relationship with Nintendo by saying that publicly.
Oh, well, sure.
But I don't think they're going to leave money on the table because, you know, any game that's coming out on the Switch, million people are going to buy it. So even Crash Bandicoot. Okay, there's rumors that Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, is coming to the Switch and PC at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
certainly a perfect fit. You know,
I gotta tell you, I won't buy it unless it has something new to offer than the PS4 version.
Maybe.
Just like,
I mean, technically, they are this technically this is the remake, so it'll have all the stuff. I don't know if they're going to necessarily add anything.
But it has to be something different. Like, why am I buying the Switch version when I own the PS? The PS4 version was one of the top selling games.
Top selling games in Europe, yeah.
In Europe, like for months.
No. I mean, it did like really well. I just don't think. I just think they're not going to add anything new to it. Probably it'll just be a direct port if they're going to do it.
Just like Bayonetta. Like I beat 1 and 2, and I have no desire to buy Bayonetta 2 on the Switch.
Well, it's the same game. Yeah, of course,
it's the same game. It's nothing different. Now, maybe
now I'm going to get it for sure. Because I've never played Bayonetta before, so
and you know what? My recommendation to you, because you can buy it separately, right? I would say buy the double pack.
Yeah.
Well, buy the double pack where you can download the first one and have the physical version for the second one, and guarantee play the first one first.
Oh, sure.
I never played the first one, and I bought the double pack for the Wii U, and I played literally maybe like 2 hours of Bayonetta 2 first,
and none
the
of
story
it
just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I did with Uncharted, right? You know, like a lot of people told me, don't bother playing the first one. The gameplay is not that tight. You know, story's pretty good and all that, but you can just go ahead and skip and play 2. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that, you know? So I don't know how the original PS3 one was, but the remaster one on PS4 was tight. And I'm glad I played the original story because there was so much good world building. And now I'm on part 2 and I know exactly what's going on, right? You know? Like,
well, I could say the aiming mechanic was a lot better on because you have the Uncharted series. You don't have.
I have the. I have the remastered Legacy Edition now.
The Uncharted 1 on the Uncharted collection. The aiming was a lot better than on PS3.
Yeah. I figured that because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's not good. Don't even bother with it." I'm like, "No, I like it.
But you definitely, just as a side note, like if you do the Bayonetta one, don't just buy two. Buy one and
I'm
two.
gonna get both. You kidding me? I'm gonna get
download
both.
one, play one first.
There was never any thought in my mind of skipping over the first one. No, definitely.
The story won't make any sense to you. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right. So the Bandai, listen, Crash Bandicoot may come out for the Switch and PC because it didn't come out for PC either. It was PS4 exclusive, at least timed exclusive to what we think. There's rumors about the Xbox, but we haven't really heard any of those rumors lately. However, the newest rumor is that there's going to be a brand new Crash Bandicoot game for 2019.
Interesting. I will tell you right now, I ain't gonna buy it unless it's the second coming of Christ. Which I don't know. Maybe it could be a fantastic game.
Stop it! I'm just Crash Bandicoot hater.
I don't like the gameplay. I'm sorry. I think it's unfair. I think it's broken. I don't see what people see in it.
So I played that first because I had a demo disc. I played that first level of Crash Bandicoot. I must have played it like 1,000,001 times.
Yeah,
I could perfect that first level with my eyes closed. So that's how many times I played it.
The side scrolling ones are okay because you can see ahead of you and behind you if you go backwards. You know what's coming up. The levels are structured fairly. Period. The ones where you're running towards the screen, they can just go die in a hole. I'm sorry. How do you know what's coming up ahead of you? You basically have to trial and error your way through it. And I'm like, nah, why? No, you can only move in one plane. It's I'm just going to go play this superior Mario 64 over here. That was kind of my impression of the first couple games. And I think I played 1 and 2, a decent amount. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not about it.
All right. So I don't mind it actually. So
yeah,
I love Crash Bandicoot. So sure. the biggest question is, will this be a traditional Crash Bandicoot game, or will this be sort of a 3D Crash Bandicoot game?
Well, that's the big question. I mean, we were talking about this for the show. The Crash Bandicoot remaster did really well, partially because, and I'm not trying to knock the game, but partially because everyone had the nostalgia for it from back in the day, right?
I mean, I'm not going to dispute that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the same when Final Fantasy VII comes out, right? People are going to hop on that bandwagon because they love Final Fantasy because it's part of their childhood. That's just kind of part of what it is. So making a new Crash Bandicoot game with the same gameplay mechanics, I don't know if it's. I don't know if they can do that in 2018 or 2019, whenever the sequel comes out. I think it would be tough.
I think they will, and I think they can. I think it will
really.
Sell.
You don't think they're going to go full 3D?
I think it will do it. I think they can. I think they could go full 3D, but I don't think they will go full 3D. I think it'll have 3D elements. It will be a traditional Crash Bandicoot game that will switch it up a little and have different. They'll have different levels that'll be like open world 3D as experimental to see how people react to it before they put out a full 3D Crash Bandicoot game.
Interesting.
Also, another rumor that I've heard that I didn't post on the show notes, so this is going to be totally new to you because I don't think you heard about this because we did talk about it a little bit and you didn't mention it. There was rumors about a new Smash Brothers game. We talked about it last week about Smash Brothers sort of being, we would want them to port that to the Switch, and it will probably be a port of all the levels and characters on the 3DS and Wii U, right? Mm-hmm. There's a rumor that Crash Bandicoot could be in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So
interesting. And
the game mechanic of twirling, right, and twisting, hitting opponents, that would be perfect for Smash.
Yeah.
Right? So it takes me back to the childhood of Crash Bandicoot with his megaphone outside Nintendo headquarters calling out Mario. Right? They can actually go head to head.
All right. I do have to say, if I love anything about the Crash universe, it's those commercials. They were fantastic.
the 80s commercials were fantastic.
They were great.
So I think that would be awesome, and I couldn't wait for that. Like I would that would make my day. Like I wouldn't want Crash as much as I loved Crash being sort of like the mascot for the PlayStation back in the 90s. Activision owns him, so they could be on all platforms.
Right.
I would want him to be in Smash Brothers.
Oh, see, it'd be your fanboy dream come true.
So I can beat Mario with Crash Bandicoot. Yeah,
go.
damn right.
Spin him right off the edge.
I'm sorry, you're damn right. All right. Well, speaking of fighting games, Evo, the biggest fighting game sort of tournament in video games that happens every summer in Las Vegas. For some reason, it's usually in July, but for some reason this year it's happening sort of early August. It got pushed.
I have a good reason for that.
Why?
I have a good reason.
Let me know.
Because there is a game. If you go ahead and look at the lineup, Street Fighter V's on there, which makes sense. Tekken's on there.
Well, the lineup. Sorry to interrupt, but the reason why we bring it up because the lineup, the video game lineup, has been announced. It tells you all the games that are going to be at Evo. It's only 8.
Right.
Really
Right.
have
eight,
more than
eight, and then they also have little like side ones that aren't part of the main show, but you can go and do like mini competitions and whatnot. I don't know if they're necessarily like broadcast or anything, but like they have other ones there too. But the big ones are Street Fighter V, the new arcade edition, Tekken 7, Smash Brothers 4, Melee, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. That's a game that's not out yet, and that's a game that gets released over the summer. So,
you sure about that?
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
That's coming out, I think, June, if I'm not mistaken. Which I believe is the reason that they're pushing Evo to August, so people can get a little bit of practice in before. And then also Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2, which is kind of an updated. It's an updated version of the game with extra tweaks and whatnot. It's similar to what they did with Street Fighter. I think there may be an extra character or two in there.
You're right. It's the Japanese release coming out the 31st of May, but worldwide it's coming out June 5th.
Right. And then we have Injustice 2, and then Dragon Ball FighterZ is the latest entry. Into the series, which is interesting. Like for a game to be Evo.
Well, actually, the new games that are coming out are Injustice 2, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Blaze Blue Cross Tag Team Battle.
Right. So that's like the first time they're featured in Evo 2018. Dragon Ball FighterZ, interesting, because the games need to be of a certain caliber to get into Evo. They need to be technically deep and balanced. They have to kind of meet a lot of criteria. They have to be loved by the fans. There has to be an audience for it. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes through. So Dragon Ball FighterZ, it is a competent fighting game. Like there's a lot of meat on that bone. I am deeply regretting not picking that game up and playing Final Fantasy Dissidia. But interesting that what isn't on the list is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Interesting, but not surprising. The game didn't do so well. Listen, the budget for the DLC for Street Fighter was bigger than the budget for the whole game of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Right. Now, I'll be honest. I haven't played the game fully. I know there's some issues. Having such a small budget means that the graphics weren't that great. Means that the character roster was severely trimmed down from what they had in 3. There were some glaring omissions in some of the character choices, and a lot of people weren't crazy about it. From what I see in terms of the reception to the fighting game mechanics, it's apparently very strong and competent. But I guess, like you said, like there's just not a big audience for it. People aren't crazy about it, so didn't make the list.
Well, I'm sure they have to poll. People who, they have to, first of all, they have to go on I don't want to say independent because I don't know if this is the pro scene. I know nothing about the fighting, the video game fighting scene. Right. So, but I'm sure There are like other little independent tournaments that go on throughout the year.
Oh,
right.
sure.
I mean, how do you get ranked to go to Evo? Right.
Sure.
I'm sure they have to poll a lot of fighters. Like, what are you playing? What are the games you're playing? Because Melee has been a mainstay since it came out. Right. So, and Melee's been out. Melee's a game that's a GameCube game. That's like 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
3 generations ago.
Yeah. Melee's in it, and Brawl will never be in it for for some things we don't need to go into right now. But basically, the creator got very angry because he considers Melee to not be a fighting game and be more of like a party game. Hence, he put some features into Brawl, which upset a lot of fighting game fans. And thus, you'll never see it in Evo. Smash Brothers for the Wii U took that stuff out because fans were very vocal. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
So I would love to go to Evo one day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think I would love to go to Evo and I would love to play in Evo and pretty much get my butt handed to me in the first round, at least the first 2 rounds.
You want to compete? Oh boy.
I want to compete. I want to compete. I do.
You would get
just to say I competed in Evo.
No offense, you would get a round 1 knockout. We would have to go gambling.
That is not true. That is not true. I could at least. I'm good enough to at least make it one round. Make it to the next round.
I don't. You have not watched Evo videos, have you? These people are.
I can make it to the next round. I can make it. Listen, I think I can train and make it and be good enough.
You're going to need some practice. I'm not saying you couldn't make it to round 2, but you definitely need to pick a game and practice.
Listen, I never said I can make it to the championship game or something like that. All right, the championship round or win it all. I just said I'm good for a round.
All right.
I have a puncher's chance to make it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I am amazingly good. I'm gonna go ahead and pat myself on the back right now. I am amazingly good at Tetris and Dr. Mario. Right. Those are probably the 2 games I am the best at. If anybody I know challenges me, right? Anybody says, "Well, let's play some Tetris." Done. They will get wiped, right? Dr. Mario, they will get wiped. I will win almost 100% of the time, right? So I'm good, and I think I'm good. I have been in some very, very, very small competitions, like stuff at PAX, or we were there when I was like playing for high score at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, right? Just playing Dr. Mario, and I was good, and I did okay comparatively. I barely made 3rd place.
We had to wait. We had to wait because they shut down the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. We had to wait. I was there like cutting lights off.
Yeah, man. I wasn't going to give up that 3rd place spot. But yeah, this is a game I play on the regular, and I am good at this game. And
okay, all right. Listen, just little known fact. Okay. As a kid, I made it pretty far in the Blockbuster Street Fighter Challenge.
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
okay.
So
you're making me go there. I'm trying not to go there. I don't want to brag. But your boy did pretty well in Street Fighter 2. Okay, back in the Blockbuster, and for you younger audience listeners who don't know what Blockbuster is, please Google it because it was our primary way to rent movies and games.
Do you remember who your character was?
Who do you think? Take a wild guess.
I'm gonna have to go with, of course, it's Ryu.
Yeah. You're damn right it was Ryu.
Ryu's the man. Interesting. Okay.
And your boy's been known to do his thing at the arcades back when he was a youngster.
Oh,
when he was a young classic.
All right.
Okay.
Hey man, look. I like going to Vegas.
I took the high schoolers to task. Okay, I took them to town. Okay.
All right. Look. I like going to Vegas, so you don't have to pull my arm. I am down. Right. You can go ahead and get your ass whooped. I will go into the casino and lose all my money.
I have no problem going, and I think I have a puncher's chance. Listen,
a puncher's chance.
If I win the first round and go on to the second round, I'm gonna celebrate. Okay, like I won a championship because I know I probably have no chance in the second round. I have no chance in the second round. Okay, and we talk about Street Fighter. Okay,
Yeah.
but I want you to play Tekken. You love Tekken 7.
Nah,
You play it on hard.
I am not gonna do
hard.
anything like that. It's gonna be a fool's errand. It's gonna be a fool's errand. I am definitely not good
You
enough.
wouldn't try? Come on, just for the experience of try.
No, I would not. I would not. If it was Tetris or Dr. Mario, I would say okay, maybe I can get past round 1 or round 2. But
Really? You really gonna be like, come on?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. It would be a waste. I would be there to cheer you on for sure.
Come on, have some faith in yourself. Come on, have a little faith in yourself, my friend.
Trust me. I know. I've played some good people, and you will not get a hit in. You know, as soon as you trip up, and you will trip up, you know, boom, they get you.
No, but look, I've played online, and I've held my own. I haven't won every match by far. I definitely haven't won every match, but I've held my own.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And my best friend is a huge fighting game guy, and I want him. I would do it if just to convince him to do it, to see how far he can actually get and test his skills. Okay. And I've held my own with him, even though he's whooped me 1,000,001 times. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
So, all right. It seems that I was totally right. Not confirmed, but it seems I was totally right about Metroid Prime 4 not coming out this year because it's in early development. But it seems I may have been wrong about Call of Duty doing sort of a World War II 2, right? By all reports, Call of Duty this year will be Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
will they be in the future, or will they be in the future? Meaning, will they be in like 2050?
No. Black Ops is not Advanced Warfighter style like future. Black Ops is near future, or like present day.
I don't think, but I think they would do a future Black Ops. You don't think they'll do a future Black Ops?
They have that already. I think they would have called it like Advanced Warfighter 2 or whatnot. Because they have these specific sets of, maybe not all the characters like translate over, but they have their genre, their set. They have the far future ones. They have the World War II stuff. They have their present day. Their sets. Maybe it could be far future, but I'm not surprised. I'm not.
I mean, but what do you think? Do you think it'll be like, because I mean, they have 3 different studios working on Call of Duty every year, right? So every year is a different studio.
Yeah.
So
well, these are I think the ones that are making the Black Ops, I think all come from the same studio.
Well, no, what I'm trying to say is, do you think it will be more of so this year we have Black Ops 4, which is more of a modern day shooter, and then next year we'll have Infinite Warfare 2 or 3, 2 or whatever, which will be more of a futuristic shooter, and in the year after that we'll take it back to another old school Vietnam or Desert Storm.
Yeah, I mean they got to kind of mix it up a little bit, like you can't have the same theater of war over and over again. Because that happened. Like, everybody got sick of the World War II games that came out in the 2000s, right? Every damn game was like, oh, it's D-Day again. Here we go. Let's go ahead and scale the wall, and let's go kill Hitler. And then eventually sales started dropping, and they're like, all right, we can't do World War II again. We got to do something else, So I would say, I think you're right. I think it's going to be, this year is going to be present day, and then it's going to be in the future.
Okay.
After that, so
it'll be present day in the future, and then take it back to another World War type style game.
Well, maybe something different after that. I don't think it's gonna go. I don't think you're gonna do Black Ops and then like Infinite Warfare and then another Black Ops after that. Like, it's just, it's like too much. Like it has to be at least a 3-year cycle because they have the 3 different studios. So each like studio gets a decent amount of time to work on their game. They may not be working on it 100% during that time, but they have that long to flesh out the details and whatnot. It gives fans a little bit of respite, and then they go, oh yeah, I remember this. This is awesome. And then they may buy it again because it's, they haven't seen it in a while. And there's, probably a lot of good new ideas on the table. So I think Black Ops 3 was what, 2011 or 12 maybe?
Mhm.
It's been a little while. Oh, 2015. Okay, never mind. 2015. Still, it's been almost like 3 years since we've seen a Black Ops game. So
All right. So this could be. I mean, we talked about a rumored Battlefield game coming out next year. I mean, this year, at the end of this year, and will they go back to old style, World War? Like Battlefield 1 is this Battlefield quote unquote 2, right?
They may do Battlefield 2. I mean, literally the first one was Battlefield 1942. And then they did Vietnam, and then I think all the ones after that were modern day. Well, there was modern day, and then there was a future one. I think there was like 2049 or something, or 2050 was like one of them too. Yeah, I mean, they could jump from World War I to World War II. They could do Vietnam. Their second one, Battlefield Vietnam, was their second game, which I think did pretty well. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to do World War I again. I think they're going to try and switch it up, put a little variety in there.
Okay.
Because I mean, like we know each and every one of these things does well in their own right? They know that futuristic fighting games do well, present day fighting games do well, games in the Middle East do well, games in Vietnam do well, games in World War II do really well. As long as there's not a million different World War II games, World War I was a great setting that did really well for EA and DICE. So we know they work. It's just you don't want to do it year after year. Switch it up. Because even like Assassin's Creed, even though it's the same game, it's still in a different part of the world. They always mix up where you're going. So at least in those games, the environment's different. So it's it's like it's not stale when you go to Egypt from England or France or wherever.
No, that's true. And look, I didn't. I mean, I played the Call of Duty World War WW2.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was okay. I clamored for the Infinite Warfare type of game, the futuristic game.
You like the far future setting, yeah.
I like the far future setting personally. I know a lot of people didn't. But if they switch it up, right? I beat it. I beat the story mode my tradition. I beat all the Call of Duty story modes.
You beat him in that. You beat him in that holiday weekend. Yep.
I beat him in that weekend. So I'm okay with them switching it up, being modern. Now, feed what I want, the futuristic in 2019, and then go back, take it right back to the World War II type style game in 2020. So, all right, talking about old school, let's talk Donkey Kong. Okay. Now there was some controversy over and again, this all went over my head because I'm not big into the arcade scene from back in the 80s and the whole world record holding type of thing, because I don't play games, I don't speed run games,
right,
or anything like that. I play for story, as we've talked about on the show.
So I can kind of I can kind of break this down a little bit. So Billy Mitchell, he is a big video game high score player. He's got a ton of records. Like if you look him up on Twin Galaxy, which was the I guess the first official video game record keeping like high score website and whatever, and they had referees and whatever, and there was like strict guidelines for sending in your tapes, and you had to be on original hardware. The system had to be in shot. Everything had to be like filmed or have a referee on hand to kind of judge that nothing's going foul. So he's been around for a while. He was the one of the main guys in King of Kong, the documentary about Donkey Kong, which is fantastic. But it was basically the story of him and this other guy, Steve Wiebe, who were vying for like top score in Donkey Kong, right? And he held the score for a while, and this guy Steve Wiebe was like trying to get really good to kind of beat his score, and there's there's close to, I mean, there's like a theoretical maximum, I think, in that game. Like, you can only do so well. There's like a top level, because you can only get to so many levels in the game, right? Before the game like craps out because it can't handle the high score. Like, the game literally glitches out. It's got like a kill screen or whatever, right? So you can only get so far in the game. So you have to play near perfect to even be like anywhere on board. And in the video, basically, like, they're kind of going back and forth for high score, and Mitchell has the score. Steve Wiebe goes to a local arcade and tries to get the high score, and Billy Mitchell is already has a video that has a new high score, right, on it that kind of beats Billy's old record. He knows Wiebe's going for the high score, and Mitchell basically has somebody at the arcade to say, "Hey, look, if Wiebe beats my top score, hand this to the judge and say, look, this guy has, a recorded top score that beats out Wiebe's." And that was essentially like what that was. And it was kind of it's a little bit of a dick move and whatnot. There's some other things in there that don't paint Billy Mitchell in such a great light. He's kind of the villain of that movie. So there's that. Like, I don't think he's that bad of a guy, but he's just kind of, he's a little bit of a dick maybe. But now there's kind of some there's some new facts that have come to light, and he his high scores are coming into contention. People are saying that he wasn't necessarily playing on original hardware. And like a couple other things are coming out. They've kind of analyzed the video, and they're kind of noticing like, oh, well, the patterns that are, kind of predetermined and whatnot, like, it looks a little bit off. Maybe there's something different about the hardware cabinet that's being, that, he's kind of playing on, which, can be really true. There were a lot of modded, Pac-Man cabinets back in the day that made, that kind of adjusted the speed of Pac-Man and the Ghosts. They were modified cabinets. There were modified Street Fighter 2 cabinets that altered the game in a way, and those don't count towards the top score. People need to be playing on the same hardware. The conditions for the top score need to be the same, right? So people are kind of calling they're calling his top score into contention, and Billy Mitchell kind of struck back, as you should, if you are innocent, you kind of definitely want to speak up on the matter. And he did that, and he still kind of holds true that he didn't cheat in any way, and that, my score is legit and this and that. So, it's like kind of interesting.
Well, this story has opened my eyes to a world I never knew really existed.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew people cared about like setting high scores and records, but this guy, I mean, there's a whole world about setting records and beating arcade games.
Right.
Which I guess I knew existed, but not to this extent.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea what Twin Galaxies was until I read this story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because this whole thing, just like a week ago, somebody called into contention the world record for dragster for the Atari 2600, right? Which is like a funny car dragster game where you have to go from first, second, fourth, fifth gear and then get to the finish line, right? And a game of dragster takes no more than 20 or 30 seconds on average. The world record was 5.57, right? And there was video of some guy getting a 5.51, right? Now, the trick about this game is it's very deterministic, right? There's a maximum theoretical best time to press the button to go from gear 1 to gear 2 to gear 3 to gear 4 to gear 5 and then to cross the finish line, right? So you can only get a score, you can only get so low of a score, so low of a time, right? And People were calling into contention that 5.51 just isn't possible. People did the math. They kind of like crunched the numbers and like, look, it's physically impossible to get a score of this, right? Like that guy, he kind of, tried to call it out. It's like, no, I got that score, this and that. It's true. I didn't use any tool assists or anything like that. It's not modded hardware or anything like that. But he hasn't been able to reproduce the 5.51, like, so his score is being called into contention. I believe it's been pulled down from Twin Galaxies. I'm not necessarily sure of Billy Mitchell's score. I'm not sure if they took it down or not. But it is very interesting,
I never knew this world existed.
Uh-huh.
I mean, to this extent, I knew there were world records and people cared about it, but I didn't know it was this serious.
Yeah, well, these are the type of people that go to Evo. They know the ins and outs.
I just never thought about it.
They know the ins and outs
about it.
I know.
I was just so like, when you like posted this and you're like, we got to talk about it. I was like in shock. Like this was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like
so,
and this guy, first of all, Billy Mitchell. You said when he was going up against this other guy,
Steve Wiebe, yeah.
Dwayne Richard.
Oh, him too,
right?
Yeah.
He was the villain. He looks like if you look at him, he looks like a villain in the movie.
Yeah, right. He could be like a Bond
with
villain
the long hair and that
sure.
that evil stare with the full beard, right?
Yep.
So, he got this score back in 2010.
Yep.
I mean, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
It's being called in question, but he didn't deny that whatever video that's in question maybe wasn't real. But his defense sort of is, hey, we have to get the original video that was submitted to Twin Galaxies. That needs to be analyzed to show that I didn't cheat. Mm-hmm. Right, or it wasn't not even him cheating. It wasn't a modded arcade game,
right?
A modded arcade cabinet. He's sort of put the onus on Twin Galaxies. He said, "Listen, they have the original tape, so if they release that, they can. It sort of like proves that My Heart Score still exists." I'm just shocked. I have to say, if we were in video, my mouth would be open because I would be shocked that this is so serious. Like people.
Well, here's
like
what you need to do.
Here's what really mad.
Here's what you need to do when we end up ending this podcast. You need to go on and look up some Evo videos of Street Fighter V to see the level of competition and get one that has the commentary track. Because they will go through the minutia, like, oh, he did this on this frame, and like this allowed him to cancel into this thing, and he did a frame perfect thing, and then he gets a 20-hit combo, and they go into all that detail. It's crazy.
No. Listen, I've seen competition fighting like Street Fighter. I've seen that on ESPN, so I know that they can go that deep into it. But I just didn't know they went that deep into like arcade cabinet high scores.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I mean, like, it was a thing.
Like, especially now, like we have all this new technology that you can kind of do that with. Like back in the day, it was either tape verification or live referee. That was it. But now we have like all this new technology out there, and everybody has a computer that you can like scrub through the video and go frame by frame and whatnot. So like it's all kind of coming to light now. Like it seems like it's a lot harder to cheat now than it would have been like back in the day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I gotta say that is crazy.
Yeah.
But I hope for his sake, I hope Billy Mitchell can prove that he, like no one should cheat. I mean, I guess this is like sort of like the steroid era in baseball, because in baseball, it's all about records, right? So I guess in speed running arcade cabinets is all about records. Don't use a modded machine. You know, like you should always just use the original machine the way it was originally meant to be played. So, all right, let's get into modern games. Let's transition into modern games. I definitely wanted to talk about this because, you know, VR was like the thing of 2017. Okay. And there's been, you know, reports that they're going to be like this amount of games coming out for PSVR in 2018.
Yeah, there's over 100 games, Sony says they're coming out, 130 games or so this year for PSVR.
So my whole thing is, what are the AAA games coming out, right? Like, I need the AAA games that are coming out this year, not just the indie games.
Right. You want a Resident Evil level of quality and depth to the game.
Yes, I mean, listen, like the Vita, they gave up on the Vita, and the Vita sort of was the indie machine until the Switch came out, and even you know, the Vita blog, the Vita website that was out, sort of stopped updating the news because there was no new news. It was like, hey, listen, I'll do reviews, but there's no news coming out because the Switch is sort of the new indie darling machine. So I don't want that to be the PSVR. I want, in any VR headset, I want VR to be a thing, right? And AR, I want that to be a thing. It's just not Google Glasses because that looked horrible.
Yeah.
Google Glass. But this game looks awesome. Persistence. It's coming out for PSVR July 24th. This game looks awesome. Now, I hate spooky games, as you know. I hate horror games, and would hate horror games in VR. Because horror games are notorious for stealth, and you know how much I hate stealth games with a controller, let alone being in VR. Right? Like, I don't want to actually be in the world hiding from the zombie.
Right.
And this and Persistence seems to be sort of like, you know, Dead Space meets like Dead Island, right? Sort of zombies in space. And you can you know, use stealth. You can hide if you want, but you can also fight back.
Right.
There are weapons in this game, and that's why I'm stoked, because I will be fully stocked, fully armed, ready to go to fight some zombies on a space station. Okay, because if not, this is just Aliens, right? That alien game that you like so much. I
Alien
hate
Isolation.
I hate it. I hated hiding from the alien.
Right.
And this they have another wrinkle to this game. Every time you die, the stage is procedurally generated.
Yep.
So
it is a true roguelike.
So yes, so it will change when you die. Everything will change. And something that I didn't even know, because I didn't even read the full story when I posted it. I didn't know until we started doing the previews. You know, we started previewing all the stories before we recorded. You can have a friend sort of assist you on the app on their phone. Obviously, they can't put on another headset and play with you, which kind of would be cool if you could. And we're not there yet. Maybe with the PS5, you know, they'll have sort of like a hub to where if you have, you know, your friends have headsets, you know, you play up to 4 players.
I mean, they just need to work out the tracking for that. Is what that is. But yeah.
But if there is sort of like a local player where you can get on your phone or tablet, and you can sort of hack into the ship's mainframe, and you can sort of open doors for me and lure enemies in, right? And you have the ability to freeze enemies to help me escape if I run out of ammo. So yeah. I think that's pretty cool, and I would love for this game to come out and for us to play it and stream it.
Yeah, I mean it definitely looks cool. I like that they found a way to get co-op into the game in a way, you know, doing that is super cool. The other thing to mention too is with the whole like procedurally generated thing, like there's like some sort of corruption that's gone on the space station. So every time you get reborn, I think you get like different stats and whatever.
Here comes a new challenger.
Right? So, I mean, like it changes your abilities and what you're able to do, you know, as well as like the level layout, which is super cool. Like I'm super excited for this. And I will, you know, we should definitely stream it when it comes out.
I am definitely hyped for this game. I want to get this game. So if you have a PlayStation VR, version 1 or version 2, doesn't matter. Pick this. Try to pick this game up. Hopefully, we'll hear more about it. It's coming out July 24th, so hopefully, we'll hear about it at E3. They'll hype it up a little bit at E3.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. And our last bit of news.
Here comes a new challenger.
It looks like Google can be entering the video game business. Now, listen. It's semi-exciting to me because this brings me back to the sort of like the early to mid 90s when everybody was trying to get into the video game business, and we got weird consoles like the Panasonic 3DO.
And the FM Towns Marty.
You got the FM Towns Marty.
You remember that console with hot games like the one with
they're so hot you don't even remember.
Yeah. They scorched my brain.
Well, this is a little bit different. So Google, which is totally different than like Panasonic 3DO. I mean, Google, they have the resources to make this a thing, right? But what kind of thing do they want to make it? I mean, they hired Phil Harrison. I mean, we didn't really cover it on the show, but Phil was a guy who was with Sony when they, since the PlayStation 1 days. Right, and I think he worked for Microsoft too with Xbox 360. Well, Xbox One at least.
So this guy's got some history under his belt.
Yes, and again, like I said, he was there for PS1, PS2, and PS3.
That's crazy.
So when they hired him, it was sort of like, is he like head of for Google gaming division? I mean, someone who's worked for Sony and Microsoft for PlayStation and Xbox.
Right. I mean that's the guy to get to head up this new division. Like, get a guy who's been through it.
Yeah, and by all accounts, codename Yeti, Google Yeti, is a gaming hardware streaming service, and it's a beast according to all reports. Now, I guess they want to get into streaming games like PlayStation Now. I don't know how practical this is because, I mean, if you look at PlayStation Now, that was their answer to backwards compatibility. But unless you have really good internet, you experience a lot of lag, and experience would be, can differ depending on where you are, depending on how your internet is.
Oh, 100%. Like
it's not like Games Pass where you download the game.
And you have like the physical hardware, and it's using that. Like, yeah. I mean, even if you were streaming the game through Xbox Live, they would have the hard drive which you could buffer stuff to, and there's all these other components that'll help run the game. To kind of smooth things out a little bit with this software, which maybe is gonna it's probably gonna utilize the Chromecast in a way to like hook the controller up to and whatever else. But, everything is going to be on their end. They'll have a giant server farm with all these servers that'll be running and streaming out the game. And, if you're playing like a fighting game, you need to have like zero lag. Like, once you start introducing some of that, all bets are off and nobody is going to want to play the game, So you'll have an easier time with single player experiences, right? Because it's just you. But I mean, like, look at a game at like Dark Souls. You're going to stream Dark Souls. That game requires a lot of precise timing and whatnot. And once you start dropping a couple of frames, or it's raining outside, whatever, that's affecting your internet, whatever it is, like, you're going to have a bad time.
I mean, do you think this is sort of like a Ouya 2.5?
Oh, in Ouya, in the fact that it's gonna like last maybe half a year and then fold.
I mean, PlayStation has the back catalog, right? They have the games that you would want to stream from PlayStation 1 era, because there's more PlayStation 1 games than anything on this system, right? And some PlayStation 2, 3, and 4 games, but they're all single player experiences, not multiplayer. Is that the audience? What's the audience that Google's going after, and what games are going to be streamed on here? I mean, I think you said it has to, incorporate Steam games, correct?
I think
Work.
leveraging the Steam library is the way to go. And maybe it's like a curated set of Steam games to start, It's, games that are maybe a little more indie, not as graphically intensive as some other games, and kind of test the waters there. Maybe single player experiences over multiplayer experiences to see how it works. And then maybe they'll start adding in more and more games to the library, because I don't think you can just, have Steam and have a ton of licenses for each game that people can just kind of stream and whatever else. And, it'll just work. So they really have to be careful. Like, this reminds me of, they had a service called OnLive that was out in the early aughts, right? 2010, 11 maybe even a little bit earlier. And they had a small set of games. It was basically like PC streaming, right? So you just had this little device that just had HDMI out, and you had a controller that hooked up, I'm assuming Bluetooth, and you'd be able to stream and play games, But the service, for whatever reason, didn't really last that long. So I think they had a lot of technical and a lot of like lag issues. It has been 6 years, 7 years. Maybe it's time, but I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's going to be real tough.
Listen, when Sony bought Gaikai so long ago, back in like 2013, 2014, well, no, not even 2012, right? That was their answer to streaming games,
right?
I think where they made a mistake was they used Gaikai, aka PlayStation Now, as the answer to backwards compatibility. I think I was okay with using PlayStation Now on all Sony televisions, where all you had to do is buy a controller and you can stream games on any television if you choose to, which they have now taken off Sony televisions, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
It is not the answer to backwards compatibility, because that, not all internet services are created equal, especially under Trump. So will this work? It comes down to two main factors. Where is this available? Because it has to be available where people have great internet speeds. And two, what games am I streaming? Right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm streaming mobile games, where's that Amazon gaming stick or Amazon gaming box? Right. I have the Amazon gaming controller in the box, and it's collecting dust.
Yeah, it's not going to be mobile games, because nobody's going to want to play mobile games at home. You're basically tethered to your TV. Like, it's my money's on Steam integration, limited Steam integration, or they'll work with partners and devs and publishing companies and strike those deals, and get the PC versions that they can stream over their network. I'd say they do one of those two things.
Okay. I mean, they got the right guy. They got Phil Harrison. Again, he's worked for both Sony and Microsoft at the PlayStation Xbox division. I just don't know how it's going to go well with, sort of streaming games, because this is a different beast, a different audience than what he's used to selling to.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep tabs on this and see where it goes.
I'm gonna buy one. I bought the Ouya. I bought the Amazon version.
I mean,
right?
You buy everything. That's not a hard bet to make.
So, all right, let's get into the convo of the week. What will we do with our collections when we die? What will happen to our collections when we die? Now, this actually came up in the last gamer. I think he has the Guinness Book World Records biggest game collection in the world.
Yeah, he's got everything.
Insane amount of video games. A lot of Japanese full collections.
I'd say over 20, over 30,000 maybe.
Around here, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible. Like he's got his gaming area is bigger than my condo.
Well,
it's unfathomable.
He's building an extra wing to his house.
He has to
fit all his video games.
He has to.
So, I mean, it's amazing, and much respect, because he does it for the love. He doesn't do it for the money. He doesn't put out a lot of videos. He puts a lot of love and care into his videos. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't. He pretty much scoffs at the YouTube algorithm. So, and again, I don't think he's rich. I just, I know he does repurpose a lot of arcade cabinets.
Well, that's like his. I think his like 9 to 5 is redoing arcade and pinball machines.
Yeah, which must be really lucrative, or the cost of living in the outskirts of Australia, because he definitely lives in Australia. Sort of like he even says he lives sort of like in far out in Australia, to where it's like he has to drive an hour to get to a store or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's definitely boutique what he's doing, which I think is the whole thing, is that people are willing to pay money to like refurb their Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet, and like he's got the facilities to do that for sure.
Well, him and his wife does it, so it's a family affair.
Yeah, which is awesome. It makes it even better. But he put this video out, and it was basically like, what's going to happen to my collection when I die? And his answer was simple, right? Because he has a wife and he has kids. When he goes, what's that?
He has 2 kids. A son and a daughter.
Yeah. So he's got the 2 kids. If he goes before his wife, his wife will take ownership, and when the wife goes, the kids will take the video games.
Which we have seen his son on a lot of videos, because he's taught his son to appreciate the art of video games.
Yeah,
his son actually loves old school video games more than those modern video games.
Yeah. I mean, his kid does play the old school games and whatnot. So like, he's definitely into it. He's definitely into it, and he's gonna give it to his kids. He's gonna give the video games to his kids, which makes sense. Like here, I want to go ahead and pass this down, to my kids. Keep it in the family. Like, it's the same thing with your inheritance, right? You're not gonna give the money away to like somebody else that you don't even know. You want to go ahead and give it to your kids. Their family. You want to help them out and say, hey, look, when I go, we have some things, and you're gonna get these things, and you can do what you want with them, well, and it just it makes sense in that case.
Well, it just got me to thinking now, because it's why I collect. Again, I love video games. I do it for the love. I don't do it for the money.
Well, we all do it for the love in a way.
We all have we all have sort of a certain love for video games, but I never care about the value. Okay, like if I buy a game that costs an absurd amount right now and the value goes down, I won't be mad.
I disagree. I would be very mad. I mean, like,
you would be.
Well, I mean, there goes $1,000 down the drain when so. Not to get off on a tangent, but the market is going to eventually crash a little bit, and it may stabilize and come back up again. I mean, everything fluctuates. Baseball cards were high and they went down. I'm going to be a little bit crushed.
Elvis paraphernalia.
Sure,
was a thing.
Sure, nobody wants the Elvis stuff anymore, and now it's just all worth nothing. And that's not why I'm into the video games. I'm not into video games for the money, per se, but just like knowing that I spent all of this money on these video games, and then everything ends up dropping. It's like, well, now I've spent more on all this stuff compared to what they're currently worth, right? Like, because everybody wants to get a good deal, right? They want to get all these games for a really good price, play them, enjoy them, and have them in their collection. So well, I'd be a little upset for that reason.
Well, okay. Why don't you start? Ultimately, and I want you to think about, your demise, because that's the only thing that's guaranteed in life.
I know. Well, that and taxes.
Well, okay. Let's rewind. Death, taxes, and you eating chicken wings because you love chicken wings. I swear, you love chicken wings.
You're right. Chicken is great, man. I mean, it's my desert island food. Chicken.
I mean, you know what? Let me rephrase.
Fried chicken and French fries.
Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. Taxes, death, Dave eating traditional chicken wings, and me eating boneless chicken wings, chicken tenders.
There you go. Those are the only constants in life. I mean, look. The answer. There's really, the way I see it, there's like 4 possible answers, and one of them's a really shitty thing to do. And the really shitty thing to do is to
what's
just
the answer for
collection.
you, Dave? That's the only thing I care about. What's the answer for you?
Well, no. Look. I'm going down I'm going down the possible avenues, and then I'll give you my opinion. Like the way that I see it, like the shitty thing to do is to take your game collection and just throw it in a landfill or a dumpster and be like, ugh, I'm done with these games, right? Because there are people out there, there's me and you out there, like, who love video games. There's people who can really appreciate these games. Like, worst case scenario, that would be it. Is I don't care, boom, there it is, it's gone. And that's just awful because they all go away. So you can give them away, either to like a family member. You can do what the last gamer has done. And, you can give it to your kids or your wife or, another family member or whatnot, which is great. If I have if I have a family, I have kids or whatever, like, that's what I'm going to do. Right. I don't know if that's necessarily in the cards, so I don't know. The idea in this case is to take that, if I don't have anybody to give it to, which would be option 2, option 3 would be to sell it off eventually, right? Because you're going to get to a point where you can't really do much with the games anymore, whether it be old age, arthritis, or whatever. You just can't really enjoy them anymore. So you can sell them, you can sell off your collection at a point, which personally I don't really have any objection to. It's, it's your collection. You can do what you want. You've had your time with them. You've enjoyed them, and you go, you know what? I want to get rid of these games, and I would take that money and travel with it. And I guess the last possible outcome I could say would be to donate it to like an organization or to like set up like a museum maybe or something. Like those are like the 4 possible scenarios I could see for like what are you going to do with your game collection. If I don't have anybody to give it to, I'm probably going to sell them all when I'm super old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I have, and just let me go on my little tangent.
Oh, by all means,
if you may. I've never had any intention on selling my collection.
Mm-hmm.
I have almost 2,500 games.
Mm-hmm.
With including. If you want to include its accessories and consoles, it's when I mean accessories, I mean like the Menacer and the Super Scope 6 type thing. I have about 191 accessories / consoles,
mm-hmm.
along with the 24 and change games. I've zero intention of selling my games. I never really thought about donating it to a museum. I've always imagined, I'm 35 years old now. I'll be 36 at some point this year. I've always imagined myself getting married and having a family,
mm-hmm.
and doing something similar to The Last Gamer as far as teaching my kids, to appreciate the art of video games, starting with old games, through, until modern games.
Mm-hmm.
I would always imagine my kids or kid, sort of carrying on the tradition of collecting and building games and preservation as well. I mean, that's another reason. I mean, we talked about it before we started recording. It's another reason why I take the crappy Barbie games or the crappy Disney games when you see them outside, when you see them in the wild, and they're like $1 if even, right? Because at some point, if they don't sell, what's going to happen, right? They're gonna get thrown out. because the value is nothing to the person selling it.
Sure.
I care about preservation, and I would love to play. In a perfect world, I'll be able to play every game I get. I just don't have enough. There's never enough time in a day, right? But I always have the option of playing any game I have in my collection because it's in my collection. I honestly, and I say this truly, I am being 100% honest. I don't care about the value. I've never once thought about, I wonder how much all my collection would be worth. I never thought about it. I've never thought about it being a retirement thing where I would sell it off when I retire. I've always thought about it as me passing it down to the next generation, regardless if it's my kid or if I don't have any kids, which I hope I do, to a young up and coming gamer who has a passion for video games, and I know it, right? If I do have kids and I pass it down, will they sell it? I don't know. I wouldn't want them to sell it. If they ever felt the urge to sell it, I'd rather them donate it to a museum. if that was the case. But I collect. Well, I play games for the love of games, but I collect games for the love of games as well. Not for the value, not for what it may get me later on in life.
Well, I think everybody does that to some degree, because it's a little bit of a fool's errand to get into these thinking they're going to be worth like millions and millions, like
I mean, the bubble's going to burst eventually, right?
Well,
because we're going to get the older we get, the more the bubble's going to burst, just like with the Elvis paraphernalia.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going to come down. It's just a matter of when, Hopefully it doesn't,
So I don't. And I use the example of Little Samson because we've talked about it before we started recording. If I spent $2,000 on a Little Samson today to have it in the collection, and I mind you, I'm talking about because I'm sure you can download it somewhere, right?
I mean, you can play it right now. Of course, you can play virtually anything. They have a ROM of it, or like a remastered thing you can play on one of the newer consoles. For sure.
I'm thinking purely the original game, to play it on their original hardware, the way, maybe not the way it was meant to be played, but, the way you could play it when it first came out, right? Or similar to it. I would love to have the original game. If I spent $2,000 for it today and a couple of years later, the value drops in price, I really wouldn't be that mad, honestly.
Well, I don't know.
I really wouldn't be that mad.
I definitely can't speak for you, but I would be mad, because like we only have a finite amount of money and a finite amount of time in this earth,
Well, that brings me to the price. If I could afford to spend $2,000,
well, but that's not what we're saying. I mean that's something different. We're talking about Dan Robinson's salary, 2018. That's a different story. By the time you're able to say like, I'm just going to buy Little Samson, it's fine. Then $2,000 doesn't mean anything anymore. That's a different story.
Again, I really buy for the love. I mean, I don't mind speaking about this. My father passed away when I was 16, and he, was a big tech guy, before tech was a thing, like a big thing. He died in the 90s. Never went to school for tech, would just stay home and read books on technology and take apart our computer and put it back together again. All his friends who had master's degrees would always call him up for advice on, hey, they have a tech issue, right? So he was a big tech guy. He liked video games. You would have loved my father because he was a big computer gamer. Big computer gamer. I was a console gamer. I was like, I want to play on a computer, even though I did play Doom and Corridor 7. Those are my first computer games. He passed away. He didn't really have anything to pass down to me other than his records, because he did have a vinyl collection, which I have. And I always thought as a kid, I said, well, when I say kid, I mean teenager, because he died when I was a teenager. I said, I have comic books, cards, and video games. I do have video games. I wasn't a collector at the time, but I said, when I have kids. I would love to leave them something that meant something to me. And this means a whole lot to me. This means so much to me. And I would love to leave this to them when I pass away. No time soon.
Yeah.
And I would love it if it meant something to them, which is the reason why I bring up that whole story.
Yeah, no, that's that's awesome. Not to necessarily piggyback off your story, but yeah, I mean, like it'd be nice.
I would love it if my grandkids had the same, if my kids left it to their kids.
That would be awesome. Definitely. And I would love to have that scenario too, but being like a realist in the matter, like I don't know if that's necessarily in the cards, and I'm okay with that. So
and look, if it's not in the cards for you, you'll always be Uncle Dave, and you can leave it to your godson, your nephew.
Whoa, hey, whoa,
little classic,
such responsibility. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole different story. That's a whole other wrinkle to the whole situation. But I'm just, I don't know. Everything's up in the air at this point. But
well, we're not looking to die anytime soon.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And, we don't want to bring anybody down with that, but we just thought it was an interesting topic to kind of go through. Love to hear your thoughts on the matter.
Gamer mortality.
Gamer mortality, right? We're all going to go. Pat the NES punk says you can't take it with you.
You only, unlike certain games, you only get one life.
I know. Very nice, very nice. So yeah, we would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Hit us up on the social media, email us, Facebook us, MySpace, Telegram,
MySpace us,
Morse code, whatever you want to do. However you want to get in contact with us, let us know what you guys would do. Let us know in the comments. Well, yeah, that's episode 105. It's in the books. We want to thank you guys for sticking with us all this time, for listening, liking, for being good fans. As always, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, at Rated G for Gamers. You can always email us at info@ratedgforgamers@gmail.com. So please like, listen, subscribe.
And as always, keep gaming.